Hi everyone! Tonight we're going to talk about something that might seem small, till it isn't. Picture this. You're walking through your living room, maybe carrying a cozy blanket and a little evening snack, heading to your favorite chair. The lights are dim, a familiar old tune hums in the background, and everything feels just right. Then whoops, one misstep and down you go. It all happens faster than a sneeze. And yet, somehow the whole moment stretches out long enough for your mind to say, well, this is not how I plan to end the day. So before you get too cozy, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really enjoy what I'm doing here. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. I love hearing that now. Turn off the lights, maybe turn on a fan for a bit of soft noise, and let's step into today's story together. It started with a shoe, or maybe it was the rug. Either way, it was a Tuesday. It's one of those quiet evenings when the house feels like it's holding its breath after a long day. I was walking from the kitchen to the living room, cradling a little bowl of cherries and feeling pleased with myself for resisting the ice cream. Then, thwip. My heel caught the edge of the rug. It was like the universe hit the slow motion button. My arms flailed, the cherries scattered like confetti at a surprise party. And I landed hard. Nothing broke. Not a bone, at least. But my pride. Cracked clean down the middle. I remember lying there for a second, staring at the ceiling like, well, isn't this a fine hoodoo-doo? My hip was sore, my elbow throbbed, and the cherries were squished into the carpet. But more than anything, I felt shaken. It's not scared, exactly just fragile. And let me tell you, that's a word I don't like applying to myself. You'd think a little tumble wouldn't change much. But it does. A fall stays with you, especially as you get older. You start to question yourself. Do I trust these knees? Is this rug safe? Should I be using the handrail more often? That one evening turned into 1,000 little hesitations in my day-to-day life. Now, if you're anything like me, maybe you've said it before, I'm still young at heart. Oh, honey, we all say that. And it's true in so many ways. We still love dancing around the kitchen to a Motown hit. We still get excited for birthday cake. But the body keeps the calendar. And no matter how young your spirit is, your joints are still getting mail from AARP. I used to strut down my driveway like I was on a runway. Now, I take my time. At first I thought slowing down meant giving up. But then I realized it's not about slowing down. It's about walking. Smart? There's a difference. One of the biggest surprises was learning how much my feet and ankles were doing wrong. I thought I had good shoes and decent posture. But turns out I was planting my feet too flat, dragging my heels, and locking my knees. Imagine trying to dance with cement blocks tied to your ankles. That was me, every day, just getting the mail. Your feet are your foundation. And when they're weak or stiff or just plain ignored, your whole balance suffers. I started doing these little toe lifts in the kitchen while I waited for my coffee. First, it felt silly. But after a few weeks, I noticed I wasn't wobbling as much when I stepped out of bed. That's when it clicked. The fall wasn't just a fluke. It was a warning bell, and I needed to answer it. Let's talk posture, not the military kind, no. One's asking you to salute your neighbor. I'm talking about smart posture, which is just a fancy way of saying stack your bones right. Most of us, without realizing it, lean forward when we walk. Our heads creep ahead of our shoulders round forward. Suddenly our center of gravity is on vacation. But if you imagine a string pulling you up from the crown of your head, gently, like you're a marionette too, start to stand taller. Your spine aligns. Your weight shifts back over your hips. Suddenly, your steps feel more grounded. That one mental image changed my entire walk. Even made my back hurt less, which was a surprise bonus now. I'm not saying this will turn you into a ballerina, but it will help you move like someone who respects their own bones. And that makes all the difference when your floors get slick. Or your dog darts past you chasing the mailman. I remember the first time I practiced this smart posture outside. I was walking past the neighbor's house and caught a glimpse of myself in their front window. I looked purposeful, like someone with places to go. Felt good. And more importantly, it felt safe. So if you've had a fall, or if you're just afraid of having one, start there. Not with fear, not with bubble wrapping your home. Start with your feet, your posture, the way you carry yourself. Because I'll tell you what I wish someone had told me. Falling doesn't make you old. Not learning from it does. That's why we're talking tonight. Not because we're fragile, but because we're still strong and smart enough to adjust. We've made it this far, haven't we? Now, let me tell you a little secret about something I didn't realize until I watched myself on one of those home videos. My daughter insists on taking every family holiday. I shuffle. Yep, there I was, walking across the kitchen in my Christmas apron, and my feet were barely leaving the ground. Just a whisper of a glide with each step, nothing dramatic. But that, my friend, is where trouble sneaks in. Shuffling isn't always a conscious choice. Sometimes it starts because your knees ache, or your back feels tight. Or maybe you're just in a hurry but don't trust your footing. But that habit, barely lifting your feet, can make every rug, edge, door frame, and uneven tile a little trap waiting to trip you up. I used to think, well, I'm saving energy. But turns out I was inviting a fall every time I slid instead of stepped. I had to retrain my brain. And believe it or not, one of my biggest breakthroughs happened in the grocery store. Now, don't laugh, but you know those big shopping carts? It's the ones with the squeaky wheels in the front that never turns the right way. I started using them intentionally. Not just to lean on, which, by the way, isn't helping anyone's posture. Not to practice proper walking form. Here's the trick. I'd line up my body straight, hold the cart lightly, no white knuckle grip hand, walk tall. Every time I pushed forward, I focused on lifting my feet with purpose, like I was walking a runway right there in produce. Even with frozen peas and a loaf of rye bread in the cart, I imagined myself being watched. It changed how I carried myself. That's when the fun part came in, the walk like you're on stage trick. Now, I don't mean dramatic pirouettes in the Walgreens parking lot, though. If you want to try it, please send video. I mean this. Every time you walk somewhere, especially where there's a crowd, pretend someone's watching. Not in a creepy way. More like you're starring in a documentary called Elegance Over 60. You carry yourself differently when you feel seen. Your back straightens, your steps become deliberate. You're less likely to trip when you walk like you're trying to impress your grandkids. And let me tell you, it works in airports, museums, and even down the church aisle on Potluck Sunday. Confidence is an invisible shield. But sometimes confidence alone isn't enough. Let me tell you about the red rug. That thing was a gift from my sister. Lovely Moroccan pattern, thick as a sandwich. And as beautiful as it was, it might as well have had a big neon sign blinking "Trip here." One evening, I came home from my neighbor Janet's book club, kicked off my shoes, and headed for the kitchen. The edge of that rug caught my sock, and bam, my pinky toe met the coffee table in a very unfriendly way. Broke it clean. I spent the next 2 weeks walking like a cartoon duck. Now, I didn't want to part with the rug. It was pretty. But I realized something. Beauty can't come before safety. That red rug found a new home in the upstairs guest room. And my downstairs got a globe with grippy, low-profile mats. I even got little lights that turn on when I walk by at night. Looks like a runway. Very chic. That brings us to the good part, the walking patterns. I started practicing 3 little routines, each one tailored for different moods. The first, one I call the triangle walk. Okay, picture this. Every step makes a soft triangle. You lift your foot, step forward with your heel landing first, then roll onto the ball of your foot and push off again. Heel, ball, toe. It keeps your weight centered and trains your muscles to move in a flowing rhythm. I practice it every time I go to get the mail. The second one's the tightrope tap. This is when you walk along a pretend line, placing one foot just slightly in front of the other, not heel-to-toe like a sobriety test. Please put close enough to train your balance. I do this down the hallway when nobody's looking. It helps my ankles, stays strong, and reminds my body what straight feels like. And the third is my personal favorite, the social sashay. This is when I'm out in public grocery stores, the bank, wherever, and I walk with a touch of flair. Chin up, shoulders down, steps wide enough for confidence, but not dramatic. It's not about showing off. It's about owning the space you're in, because when you walk like you belong, you're less likely to stumble. The ground seems to treat you with more respect. I've taught these tricks to my friends at Tai Chi class. Some of them roll their eyes at first until they try it, and they're texting me a week later saying, "I've just carried groceries up my steps without feeling like I needed to grab the railing." And here's the best part. When you start practicing these walks, they become part of your muscle memory. You don't have to think so hard when you're stepping out into the world. Your body starts doing the smart thing automatically. That's the magic of habit. Remember, it's not about perfection. We've got nothing to prove, but we do have a lot to enjoy. Grandkids, garden walks, afternoon strolls with friends. And we're going to do all of it with our heads high, our feet strong, and maybe even a little sass in our step. We're not just walking, we're telling the world that we're still here, still moving forward, and still refusing to let a little wobble stop us. You know what really surprised me? Confidence doesn't come from pep talks or YouTube videos, not even mine. If I'm being honest, it comes from muscle memory, from practice, from repetition. The way you walk becomes a rhythm that your body learns like a favorite old song. And the more you walk with intention, the more your body remembers how to stay upright even when you hit that uneven patch of sidewalk, or when your neighbor's dog barrels toward you like a furry cannonball. I used to think confidence was something you either had or didn't. But no, darling, it's built like a quilt, stitch by stitch. You don't need to feel brave to start walking well. You just need to walk like someone who expects to feel better tomorrow. And that brings us to shoes. Let me tell you a story about a weekend getaway with my daughter and her family. We went to Asheville's cute little town. Lots of hills, cobblestone paths, you know the type. I packed my nice shoes, the kind that make you feel put together but secretly pinch your pinky toe. Big mistake, by the end of the first day, I was limping like a pirate. My daughter said, "Mom, just wear the backup pair tomorrow." Now, that backup pair, well, they weren't cute. They were these orthopedic sneakers, wide toe box, thick sole Velcro straps. Looked like something your grandpa would wear to mow the lawn. But I gave in, and you know what? I walked the whole day. Hills, sidewalks, even danced a little at the live bluegrass show. I didn't slip once. Those shoes were like magic carpet rides for my feet. From that day forward, I stopped choosing shoes based on style alone. I choose shoes that say, "This woman is going places and she's doing it safely." Right shoe matters. You want grip, you want support, and you want comfort. Not that flimsy stuff that folds in half when you press the sole. Something with structure. If your shoes feel like bedroom slippers, they probably belong in the bedroom. Now here's something that might surprise you. Balance isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's mental. It's even social. When feeling anxious, I'm more likely to rush. And when I rush, I forget my posture. If I'm sad or distracted, I tend to look down while walking, which throws off my alignment. That's why mindfulness isn't just for meditation. It's for movement to dots sometimes. I walk better when I'm walking with someone. My friend Trina and I walk every Sunday after church. We talk, we laugh, and without realizing it, we both walk taller. It's like our rhythm syncs up. So if you can, find a walking buddy, someone who helps you pace yourself and brings a little joy to your steps. Even music can help. I've got a playlist called "Don't You Dare Fall," filled with songs that have a steady beat. I play it when I'm cleaning the house, doing laundry, or pacing the kitchen while waiting on my tea kettle. Rhythm trains your brain just like repetition does. It says, hey, this is how we move. But let's be honest, no matter how careful we are, sometimes a fall still happens. Maybe your cat darts out from under the table. Maybe the floor's slick with soap. Maybe you just have one of those days where your feet forget the plan. So here's what I've learned about what to do when you fall. First of all, don't panic. Breathe. Take a moment to figure out what's hurting, not just what's embarrassing. If you're not seriously injured, roll to your side slowly. Then, push yourself up to hands and knees. Use a sturdy piece of furniture to help yourself rise. Always tell someone afterward. Even if you didn't break anything, someone should know, just in case symptoms show up later. And let go of the shame. Falling isn't weakness. It's human. Babies fall 100 times before they learn to walk. We're just in our second round of walking school. That's all. We're learning to walk wisely. I once fell in front of the post office. Full audience. Purse flew one way, sunglasses another. A kind teenager helped me up. And you know what he said? You've got good form. You fell like a pro. That made me laugh so hard I forgot to be embarrassed. And now I try to remember that every time I trip, at least I fall with flair. But beyond all of that, here's something you might not have thought about: the way you walk is part of your legacy. No, really. Your kids and grandkids notice how you carry yourself. They watch how you face challenges, even the little ones like a tricky step or a steep hill. And when they see you walk with confidence, with care, with presence, they learn to do the same. I remember my grandmother. She had this glide to her step like she was always walking through a garden. Even when her back started curving and her cane became part of her silhouette, she still walked with dignity. That image is carved into my memory. That's what I want my grandchildren to remember about me, that I was afraid to move, but that I moved with intention. So next time you get up from your chair, take a moment, plant your feet, roll your shoulders, imagine that invisible string lifting the crown of your head, and take that first step like it means something, because it does. You're not just walking, you're writing the next chapter of your story. With every step, you're saying, I'm still here. I'm still strong. I'm not done dancing around the kitchen just yet. And if anyone asks, you can tell them you've got a walking coach on YouTube who believes in you even if she also breaks her toe on coffee tables now and then. So keep walking, my friend. Walk with pride, walk with laughter. And if you ever stumble, get up like it's part of the show, 'cause, in a way, it is. And the curtain hasn't closed yet, not by a long shot.